Hey guys, welcome to PB Garage. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the trunk lid on your Mk5 Jetta. Stick around. Now if you guys live somewhere that uses road salt, you're probably pretty familiar with this issue, rust on your trunk lid here. In my case, I just bought this car and it's pretty rough. So we're going to swap this trunk lid out for a better one. Now this lid's already kind of been disassembled a little bit just because somebody was in here trying to, do some stuff. Now I've got a donor car here, so I'll go ahead and pop the trunk. And then we'll get right into removing this from the donor car. So what we're going to start with here is we're going to remove the emergency escape handle cover. So just the glow in the dark part, pull that guy off. And then we'll remove the little ball that's in there, just slide it out. It's on a cable obviously, so we're just going to slide it out of its little slot, and that way it can go through the housing here. This guy's just hanging loose now. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to take off our plastic cover. Some lube there. Take off our plastic cover there, and then we can start just pulling all the clips out of this felt lining here. So if you have a look around the edges, you can kind of see where all the clips kind of pop in. You just want to work your way around and get all those clips loose. As much as you can. Looks like somebody's already been in here. So this one's not too bad. Now they could be a bit of a fight, a little bit difficult to get out, but just take your time. And if you can peek in and see where the clips are, you'll know where to apply a little bit more pressure in order to get them to release. Now with all the clips loose, I'm going to get in here. There's a couple of Torx. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Torx bolts. These are a T25, and I probably could have got them before I went after the clips, but here we are. Now with those screws out, should just, yep, here we go, right out. And our emergency release handle here, just gonna slip that guy. It just slides into its little holder there, so we pop that guy out. And then just before I put this away, I'm gonna make sure I have all my clips here, of which I'm missing a couple, it looks like. I heard one of them go for a walk. Here it is. So I'll find that guy, put it back in, and then I gotta find one more. Sometimes they like to stay in the trunk lid, so you can just look, check your slots. Here it is here. And I'm just gonna pull that guy out. Now the easiest way I've found to do it is to grab the clip sort of along the long edge and pull it out. So grabbing it like this, I find that if I grab them like this and try to pull them out, when I put pressure on that, it kind of splays them out a little bit, keeps them from bending. So I grab them like that and they come out a little bit easier. You can obviously use a trim tool as well. I've just got pliers. So we're gonna put that guy back in its home. Now that we have that done, I'm gonna keep as much on the trunk lid as possible. I do wanna keep these dark cherry tail lights here in, and I'm gonna transfer the other ones over as well. But we want to unhook the wiring and just pass it out through here. So we've got a couple wiring connectors here we need to undo. We can just slip those guys out of their holders and disconnect them. So those are undone. I'll just pop them back into their holder for now. Actually, they can probably just live there. And now I'm gonna undo this grommet here, pass my wires through, and then I have this plastic clip that's on the little arm there. So we'll undo that guy as well, and we can tuck those wires away. All right, so the next thing to do here, I've already done this on the other hinge, but I'm going to loosen off the top nut and then remove the bottom nut, and that will keep the trunk lid kind of situated because the top nut will keep it in its little slot there. And then once this is loose and this is removed, and I've done both sides, then I can just lift that trunk lid right off out of the hinge and just gives me a little bit more support with the nut still being there but loose. Now, if I was going to be replacing the hinges as well, pretty easy. I would still remove the trunk lid like this so that I can get it off clean and not damage the paint. And then I've got 3 13 mil head bolts in the bottom here, 1, 2, 3. I would remove those 3, remove each hinge separately, install it on the new car or whatever I needed to do, and then reinstall my trunk lid. So I've already got that hinge done, and I'm just gonna loosen this guy off. Just want it loose, and then remove the nut on the bottom. You can see it move, and we're having a look. You can see we've got witness marks in the paint there, so when we go to reinstall it, we can kind of line everything up. I'm just holding it to steady it, but now I've got the nut off the bottom. I've got this guy just loose, same thing on both sides. I should be able to just, maybe I need to loosen it off a little bit more. And it should just lift off. So I've run the studs on the bottom out, and then I can just lift my trunk lid completely off like this. And there we go. Now I'm just going to quickly do the same thing here with this trunk lid. And this guy should just come out easily as well. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna replace these struts for the trunk lid just because you can see the corrosion's gotten into it as well. They're starting to look pretty scuzzy. So all I'm doing here, I'm pulling the spring clips on both sides out. You can remove them completely or just leave them mostly off, and then these should just come right off the ball like that. So you can see they're just kind of off. And then here's my strut off the donor car, and I'm just going to pop that back onto the balls and pop those spring clips back in. And there we go, good as new. All right, now to put our trunk lid on from the donor car, I'm just gonna get myself kind of lined up here. This is where it comes in handy, having those nuts still on, because I can just drop it in and then let go of it so they hold themselves on there. Now obviously, if you can convince a second person to come and give you a hand, even better. And I'm just gonna put my lower couple of nuts on, just kind of finger tight for now, and then line up my paint marks. So I have my little circles there where the nuts had been before, and I'm not gonna get them real tight, just tight enough that they don't move. Do the other side. And now with all my witness marks kind of lined up, I'm just gonna snug these down a little bit and then hook up my electrical. Very important to hook up that electrical before I go ahead and close the trunk, because if it latches, we need to be able to release it again. I'm gonna start with my little plastic bracket here, slip it in behind. Make sure, now it's got 2 tabs kind of coming in from that side. I want to hook those in first, and then I'll line myself up with the hinge sort of at the bottom. There's a round part, so we line that guy up nice, and then it should just snap on. Run our wires. Through our trunk lid here, and reconnect. Boop. And we're all set. Now just before I go ahead and close it and check the alignment, you guys should probably check and make sure that your rear seats fold down so that if it closes and doesn't unlatch for whatever reason, we can get in and get at our emergency release cable to unlatch it, or get at the hinge or whatever you need to do. But think, and I'm not slamming it because I want to make sure that I have good clearance to all my body work, because the alignment on that can be off a little bit, but everything looks good. So we'll give her a close and pop her open. Beauty. So we're all set, we're good with that. Now, just before I put my felt back on here, if I wanted to remove and replace these taillights in the trunk lid, you can see we've got two 10mm nuts here and an electrical connector. So I would just unhook that guy. It's got a detent on both sides. So just unhook that guy, undo those two nuts, and then that tail light will come straight out like this. And same for reinstall, put it back in. You can probably get at these with the felt on, because there is a little flap there to allow you to replace the bulb. So you probably don't even need to remove that felt lining in order to replace these taillights. Now I've got the car up on my hoist there, so I'm kind of far away, but basically just the reverse of the removal here. I'm gonna slide, so this is my emergency release cable. I'm gonna slide the ball through the hole in the felt there and reinstall the cable into its little holder like that, and then should be easy enough. Slide those guys over top of the latch there, and just get my spring clips lined back up. There we go. Once you get most of them in, the others line up usually pretty easily. There we go. And then just a last little bit, we're gonna take our emergency release cable here and just feed it back into our release lever. This guy. There we go. So I just got a hold of it there with my fingers, slide it back into the handle, and then we got to put our cover back onto our handle and replace our Torx screws. So there's my handle cover with the arrow pointing the correct direction, and then my 4 T25 screws up here in the handles. So there you have it. That's it for our trunk lid replacement. Our felt lined up nice. Let's have a look in here. Oh yeah, you can definitely get at those 2 nuts for your tail lights. If you need to remove them, just leave that felt on. You can get those guys out, no problem. Now, if you guys want to stick around, I'm going to just swap out my tail lights so I have the dark cherry tail lights on this car as well. If not, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Now to pull these tail lights out, all you have to do is pull this one electrical connector. This guy, you leave it on, and then there's 2 10mm nuts right on these studs, and then that guy just slides right out. So if we have a look at the connector, now it's tough to see in here, but underneath the connector here, there's a little tab. This one seems like it's maybe broken off already. This one's already broken. Okay, well, in any case, you can see the 2 nuts I'm gonna undo. There's one, there's the other. Now, if that connector wasn't broken, it would look like this guy over here. And to get it to unclip, so it's in like this, and I had to pull this guy all the way back, and then it would pull out. And this one was a little bit tough to get out. But obviously somebody's been in here on this guy before, because yeah, they busted that plug. That little clip isn't there anymore. And then here, just gonna get in. I've got a 10mm ratchety guy here, and I'm just gonna undo that enough so that it's loose, and then take it off by hand. Obviously, you need to be real careful that you don't drop these guys because they're going to be hiding in the car somewhere. So make sure you don't drop those. There's one guy. And two. And then this tail light should just come right out, just like that. Oh yeah, forgot this guy. Oop. Guy lives there. Now, if we look at this tail light that I'm about to put in, you can see we have this little rubber gasket around the edge there too. I don't think we need to do anything special in terms of trying to seal it up or anything. So I'm just gonna make sure that that surface is clean and that this guy looks clean and ready to go. And then it should just be a matter of sliding it in. And there we go. So I'll do my couple of nuts back up there, plug in my connector. Obviously, this would all be much easier two-handed. Just snug, not super tight. And then I'll plug this guy in. I'm not too worried about it coming out on its own without that little clip. Should be fine. We'll close our flap up here. And there you have it. Swapped. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. We'll see you on the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.